In this video, we're going to take a look at the flying enemy's electrical zapping sound. As you can see in this gameplay footage, this little guy likes to fly around and zap our hero with what looks like a little blast of electricity. And unless you've got a Tesla coil lying around, you'll need to find another way to generate some electrical zaps. One thing that I found works pretty well is to use a guitar cable and the jack on an electric guitar. Here you can see me inserting the cable in and out and wiggling it around to try to find something that might work. Let's go ahead and switch over to Pro Tools now and take a listen to what we've got. So there's some good stuff in here, but we're going to need to apply some processing to get an idea of how well it's ultimately going to work. So I'm going to go ahead and insert the SansAmp plugin on the first insert on this track. SansAmp is one of the free plugins that comes with Pro Tools, and it does a pretty good job of simulating a guitar amp. Now right away I know I'm going to want a high gain setting on here, so I'm going to jump into the presets and pick something like a metal lead. How about metal lead 1? So let's take a listen with the SansAmp now. And you can already hear that we're getting much closer to the sound we're looking for. Let's make a couple of tweaks to the plugin settings. I'm going to completely cut the lows and boost the highs all the way up. And now that's sounding pretty good. I'm also going to go ahead and pitch shift this up a little bit. And I'll use the air frequency shifter to do that. This is another free plugin that comes with Pro Tools. So I'm going to go ahead and shift this up. Okay, so we've got a lot of material here, and the fundamental sound is getting pretty close to what we're looking for. Now it's time to go ahead and import the game capture movie so we can try to work out the timing of this effect. So I'm just going to go ahead and drag that movie into the tracks list, and my video import options dialog will appear, and the default settings are fine, but I'm not going to import the audio from the file, so I'll go ahead and deselect that and click OK. Okay, so now my movie's imported, and we can start to try to work on the timing of this effect. To help me position the sound, I'm going to find the place in the movie where our guy's getting zapped, and I'm going to drop a marker there. So I'm going to use nudge to do this with my nudge value set to 1 frame. So now that I've found the place where the zap starts, I'm going to go ahead and drop a marker. And it's also not a bad idea to mark where the zap ends. So right about there. Okay, so let's find a bit of our audio that we think might work for this. And I heard some pretty interesting stuff down here toward the end. So I'm just going to select a bit here and go ahead and trim it. And then I'm going to cut that and then zoom in so I can see my markers more clearly. Then I'm just going to click on the first marker and paste our audio there. So without doing any more editing, let's just take a listen to that. I'm going to back up a little bit and play it. So we need to trim the beginning a little tighter and maybe take a little off the end. And I'm also going to add a very small fade to the beginning and a slightly longer fade to the end. And you'll notice I'm using the Smart tool, which makes these edits pretty quick. Okay, so let's listen to it again. And then I'm going to nudge my clip a frame earlier to get the timing right. Okay, so let's check this out. Okay, so we're sounding good and the timing looks good. We're ready to go ahead and export this and try it out in the game. So I'll go ahead and create a new master fader. And I'll throw an ultra maximizer on there, like Maxim. And then because we're going to a lower bit depth, we'll go ahead and add some dither. And make sure that that's set to 16-bit. Now we're ready to go ahead and export our sound using bounce to disk. So we'll set our settings to WAV file, mono, 16-bit, 48K. File name. We want to make sure we've got the exact correct file name here, which is WPN for weapon, flyer, electrical, zap.01. And we'll go ahead and bounce that. Okay, so let's switch back over to Unity and see how well this works. Okay, so now we're back in our Unity project. And what we're going to do is navigate to our weapon sound folder, which is under Assets, Sounds, Weapons. And then you can right-click on any one of these files and choose Reveal in Finder, which will bring up the Finder window or the Windows Explorer window where that file is located. And here we can see that the electrical zap is right here. And that's our silent placeholder sound. I'll go and grab my final sound export from Pro Tools. And then I'm just going to hold down the Option key to drag and drop a copy of this file into the weapons folder. And the OS is going to ask me if I want to keep both, stop, or replace the file. Go ahead and click Replace. Okay, so now if we go back into Unity and click on our electrical zap, we should be able to see the waveform of our sound in the inspector and audition the sound from there. And now we're ready to actually play the game and see how well the sound works. Okay, so that sounds pretty good and the timing looks good. Let's move on to our next sound.